Terrifying by Silvery Night. Summary. Give him to me. She almost drops her patient because as soon as they reach the backyard, the water hashira appears in front of them. Why is he there? She didn't want to. The pillar gave you an order. Her companion nudges her hard in the ribs. He's almost trembling. In which everyone is afraid of the pillars, except for Tanjirou. She's glad she didn't have to go to headquarters. She's heard that a few of her fellow Kakashi have met the hashira, and all of them told her that they were absolutely terrifying. She didn't want to meet them yet, not on her first day at least. She's seen them from afar, though, when she was being trained for the position, and she didn't need to look at them for long to know that other Kakashi were right. Even though she's relaxed, despite carrying a demonslayer on her back, the Kakashi boy next to her is really nervous. He has a wooden box with him, and the demonslayer says it's really important. I'm sorry for making you carry me all the way here, the demonslayer says. His voice is kind and soft, and she finds herself grinning whenever she hears him. It's all right. It's part of my job, after all. You're really strong, he comments, making her blush. Thank you. What's your... Are you all right? Her fellow Kakashi cuts her off suddenly, looking at the boy on her back. He seems nervous. Is she hurting you? Hey, she protests, but the Kakashi ignores her. No, I'm fine. Well, my arm hurts, but I suppose it's normal since it's broken. Give him to me. She almost drops her patient because as soon as they reach the backyard, the water hashira appears in front of them. Why is he here? She didn't want to... The pillar gave you an order. Her companion nudges her hard in the ribs. He's almost trembling. Tomioka-san, the boy on her back says, sounding happy. Like he doesn't know he's in front of a hashira. Perhaps he hit his head as well. Looking irritated, the water hashira spreads his arms, and the girl pales immediately before handing the demonslayer over. Tanjirou, my boy, are you all right? She's petrified as another comes. The flame hashira leans over the young demonslayer, grinning at him softly before touching his forehead. Tomioka glares at the other pillar, but doesn't move Tanjirou away. What is going on? Why are they looking at him like that? Is every single hashira in the butterfly mansion? I'm fine, Tanjirou mumbles, beaming at them. He's like the sun, she observes. His eyes, his smile, all of him is warm. It's just my arm. I think it's broken. That won't do, Uzui says. Luckily, the girl is too frozen to scream, but she still gets startled when yet another hashira appears out of nowhere. Get us some medicine, Rengoku tells the two Kakushi, and her companion quickly rushes into the mansion, leaving her completely alone with the pillars. The others arrive in the blink of an eye, and suddenly everyone is gathered around Tomioka, because he's the one holding Tanjirou. Who's that boy anyway? Why are the hashira so soft with him? Come on, Obanai, Kanroji says, after glancing at Tanjirou. Let's get him some rice balls. He must be starving. Who did this to him? Answer me. She's not ready to face the rage of the wind hashira. She shivers. Demon, but it's dead now, her companion responds immediately, after handing the insect pillar the medicine. He looks breathless, just like he ran all the way to arrive as quickly as possible. Don't be like that, Shinisagawa-san. They've been nothing but kind to me this whole time, Tanjirou protests, making the wind hashira growl. He looks away from him. This only means you need to train more, he hisses, pretending he doesn't care, even though he keeps eyeing Tanjirou's injured arm. You're right. Tomioka finally sits on the ground, with the young demonslayer in his arms. Rengoku takes the wooden box away from the other Kakashi and sits next to them. Uzui starts putting a few bandages around the arm, after resetting it. Kocho helps him drink the rest of the medicine while Rengoku asks him about the mission to make him smile and distract him from the pain while running his fingers through dark red hair. The water hashira looks at him, and for a moment she thinks she can see him smile fondly at Tanjirou. What is going on? She finally snaps in a whisper, just in time for her to see Igoro and Kanroji arrive with a lot of rice balls. When Tokito offers Tanjirou to feed him, she feels completely lost. She doesn't understand anything, apparently. I thought they were terrifying all of the time. Not when they're with Tanjirou, the Kakushi boy explains. They always turn into soft puppies around him. Is he special? He must be, because they adore him. The Kakushi girl has learned a lot since the first day at the butterfly estate. Tanjirou is special. There's something about him that makes every single hashira melt as soon as they see him. Every single one. Even the scariest of them, like the wind hashira. She wouldn't have believed it if she hadn't seen it with her own eyes. They're taking a break. She's in the dining room with a few slayers and a couple of kakushi. The pillars will be arriving soon, so they're eating what they can before leaving the place. However, one of them takes two ohagi that were left on a plate even though they clearly belonged to someone. She's waiting for the ridiculous fight. Sometimes demon slayers argue with each other for nonsense like that. That was Shinasagawa-san's. A girl informs a boy, who immediately pales after hearing that. Those are his favorites, says another. You'll be dead soon. Just tell him Tanjirou ate them. A boy with short yellow hair she doesn't remember the name of says, still enjoying his rice balls. What? I thought you were Tanjirou's friend, Zenitsu, says the demon slayer girl, almost outraged. Why, do you want Shinasagawa to kill him? If the Kakushi girl hadn't been on the butterfly mansion that day, she would have been glaring at the blonde as well. Zenitsu sighs. He won't kill him because it's Tanjirou, and the pillars would never hurt him. Seriously, haven't you noticed? Where have you been? No one believes him, of course, and the boy seriously considers running away. But the hashira arrive before he can do anything, and Shinasagawa realizes what happened immediately. A few demon slayers manage to run away, but the boy gets caught by the wind hashira. He grabs him by the uniform to lift him up from the ground like nothing. At least he's not grabbing him by the neck. Who ate them? Was it you? He growls. For a second, the Kakushi girl thinks the young demon slayer is going to faint out of fear. It was me, Shinasagawa-san. Tanjiro arrives just in time. I'm so sorry. I can make you more if you want. The wind hashira releases the demon slayer, who hits the floor immediately and grimaces in pain. There's no need. Shinasagawa huffs. I wasn't hungry anyway. He walks away, but ruffles Tanjiro's hair when he passes next to him. Everyone except the other pillars, who were already trying to get Tanjiro to sit next to them, looks like they're in shock. She kind of enjoys it when someone realizes what's going on. It's fun to see the confusion on someone's face when they catch a glimpse of Tomioka smiling softly at Tanjiro, or Rengoku carrying the boy in his arms every time he sees him. Look, Kanao, the insect hashira Sugoku, mumbles as she sits next to her. A group of demon slayers have been training with Tokito, and it's a nightmare for almost everyone involved. This is my favorite part. The mist hashira starts throwing rocks at the ones he thinks are not moving correctly as they practice with wooden swords. She can hear the way they hiss in pain whenever a stone hits them. Are you sure I'm doing this correctly, Tokito-san? Tanjiro asks, looking as puzzled as some of his fellow slayers. He's the only one who hasn't been hit by a rock. Not even once. Of course, Tanjiro. The hashira grins at him, taking both his hands almost lovingly. Your movements are perfect. Actually, you can take a break now. His voice is soft as he encourages Tanjiro to go eat something. But as soon as he turns around to the others, an unimpressed expression appears on his face. That's what you call training, you incompetent airheads? We're going to keep this up until you can't stand anymore. Even though Uzui is constantly flirting with Tanjiro, who seems oblivious to everything, he's the one stopping the other demon slayers from trying to do the same. It's understandably confusing for the others to watch as the sound hashira narrows his eyes at them from above. He's ridiculously tall, and to then turn at Tanjiro, with a flirty smile curling his lips whenever the boy gets close to him. However, he lets one of the young ones follow Tanjiro like he's a lovesick puppy around everywhere. Who's that? She asks. She's become really good friends with Zenitsu and often looks to him because he's the one who knows the most about the situation. And why haven't they... He's Genya. Zenitsu frowns. He's the only one allowed to do that because he's Shinasagawa's little brother. Huh. So that's why he looks terrifying as well. Also, he didn't look little at all. He's even taller than most of the pillars. It's weird that he usually looks so grumpy and murderous, and yet when Tanjiro turns to talk to him, he acts like a 12-year-old with a crush. Tanjirou has no idea, right? She asks, even though she knows the answer already. Not at all. She definitely didn't expect to find Tanjiro passed out on the ground when she and a few of her fellow Kakushi are called to the Hashira headquarters. It seems that Tanjiro got injured during his last mission, but he didn't listen to the Kakashi advice and rushed to greet the pillars as soon as he found out they were in headquarters having a meeting. And now he's unconscious and the Hashira are surrounding the boy and looking like they're in pain. The first Kakashi that gets closer to Tanjiro gets growled at by the Flame Hashira, who instinctively puts himself in the middle. "I'm sorry," Rengoku apologizes immediately, like waking from a dream. "I thought you were going to hurt him." It's like the Hashira's protective instincts have suddenly grown exponentially. None of the Kakashi dare to get closer again. Tomioka gets desperate and takes Tanjiro in his arms. For the first time since she's met him, he doesn't have a neutral expression on his face. He's worried, almost in despair. "I'll follow you," he tells the Kakashi. They check his injuries as soon as Tomioka leaves him in one of the rooms. Kocho strokes Tanjiro's hair kindly, smiling softly before turning his face to the others. "He'll be fine," she informs them. "But we have to let him rest." That they do, but they remain outside the room. Some of them have to go on missions already, but Kanroji promises them to send a message as soon as Tanjiro wakes up. Quietly, the Kakushi girl observes as they take turns to walk in the room and stay for a while with him. Rengoku likes to take Tanjiro's hand in his and kiss it gently as he mumbles something that the Kakashi girl can't hear. Tomioka looks down at the boy like he doesn't care about anything else in the world. She knows that he's the one that met him first and wonders what happened then. It's strange how things can turn from, "I don't even know who you are," to, "You're the most important thing in my life, I'd do anything for you." Kocho helps Tanjiro to sit on the bed and wakes him up herself only to give him more medicine. Kanroji sobs a little bit, but doesn't say that much. Uzui pushes a Kakashi aside so he can change Tanjiro's bandages himself. When Tanjiro finally wakes up completely, Shinizugawa is back. "Don't you ever do that again," is the first thing he says, growling. "Running away from the Butterfly Mansion just to say hi to us? Are you out of your mind?" "I'm sorry," Tanjiro chuckles, not even a little bit intimidated by the Wind Hashira's irritation. "I didn't feel bad at the moment. I thought I was fine." "You weren't," Tomioka scolds him, but his expression softens immediately after. "I'm glad you're okay now." Rengoku takes Tanjiro in his arms, and Kanroji gives him a kiss on the forehead before Tokito starts arguing that it's his turn. While the other Kakashi look at the scene in shock, she finds herself smiling at them. Then, she desperately wishes them happiness, because it's always difficult and a bit hopeless to love so much in a world like the one they live in. Love makes everyone vulnerable, even the strong and powerful ones.